So today we are going to learn very interesting and very exciting topic which gives a lot of fun to the children. So before entering into the topic, we shall have a discussion on about author. So why he has written, what is the purpose of this poem, and what is the theme of the poem, and what is the author's background. So we shall discuss. My Shadow poem was written by Robert Louis Stevenson. So Robert Louis Stevenson was born in Scotland. So that is the reason he is known as Scottish novelist. And not only the novelist, he was a poet as well as a travel writer. Here you can see the picture of Robert Louis Stevenson, the author of My Shadow poem. He was born in 1850 in Scotland country, and he was died at the age of 44 in 1894. His nationality was Scotland, but even though he got the citizenship of United Kingdom. And coming to this poem was written in 1885. Means firstly it was published in 1885. And Robert Louis Stevenson notable works are Treasure Island, Kidnapped, A Child's Garden of Verses. So these three are his notable works. Robert Louis Stevenson was written this poem from the perspective of a child who was trying to understand what purpose his shadow serves. And the poem begins with the speaker describing how there is another child who was following every time, and it was sticking close to him while playing, running, walking, or moving here and there. So not only that, the shadow was it has a strange ability to shrink and grow. It means it has the ability to increase the size and decrease the size. And curiosity, surprise, and experiment are some of the major themes of this poem. So mainly the theme of the poem is curiosity, surprise, and experiment. And it portrays the fascination of a child, the little boy who is trying to find his own shadow, and who was very good at observing the things, and who has imaginative skills. So overall, if you observe this poem, it gives a lot of pleasure to the children. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He is very, very like me from the heels up to the head, and I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. In the first stanza, first two lines, I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. So the poet is saying that he has a little reflection of him, which is a shadow and that follows him wherever he goes. Poet is not able to understand the use of shadow except that shadow follows him everywhere. The boy is thinking that whenever he is going inside of the house and coming out of the house and moving here and there, he is observing his shadow. So he is questioning himself, so what can be the use of the shadow except following him? He is very, very like me from the heels up to the head, and I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. Here, the boy, is saying that reflection is totally covering the poet or the boy from the head to toe. Nothing but it's covering the total body. And whenever he goes to sleep, his reflection jumps or hops into the bed before him. So it means before he sleeps, the shadow is jumping onto the bed. The funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grow. Not at all like proper children, which is always very slow. For he sometimes shoots up taller like an India rubber ball. And he sometimes gets so little that there is none of him at all. I am repeating first two lines of second stanza. The funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grow. Not at all like a proper children, which is always very slow. The poet or boy finds it very funny or strange the way shadow increases in size. The shadow grows immediately whereas children take time to grow up. So it means children, you might have observed that the shadow increases and decreases immediately. But comparing to the in a real life, so it takes a long time to grow up physically. So both are not similar. The shadow shrink and grow immediately, but in a real life it doesn't happen. So last two lines of second stanza. For he sometimes shoots up taller like an India rubber ball, and he sometimes gets so little that there is none of him at all. So here the meaning of India rubber ball, a ball that can bounce very high. Once again I am repeating, the meaning of India rubber ball is a ball that can bounce very high. So let us see the meaning of these two lines. Here the poet is comparing the shadow with India rubber ball because the rubber ball bounces up and down. Similarly, shadow grows big and small. And on, sometimes the shadow becomes so tiny or small that seems like nothing is there. We knew that when we are playing with the ball, so the ball bounces up and down. It goes high and comes down. So the same way, the shadow also becomes bigger and the smaller. So sometimes it looks very big and sometimes it looks very small. So like nothing appears there. So when it becomes small, so nothing is visible. One morning, very early, before the sun was up, I rose and found the shining dew on every buttercup. But my lazy little shadow, like an errant sleepy head, had stayed at home behind me and was fast asleep in bed. Now we shall see the meaning of first two lines. One morning, very early, before the sun was up, I rose and found the shining dew on every buttercup. So the meaning of buttercup is a small bright yellow wildflower. So here explanation. One morning the poet woke up before everyone, even before the sun. Poet was woke up before everyone, even before the sun. And what he saw here, so he saw drops of water on yellow flowers. Children, you must have also seen drops of water on flowers early in the morning. If not, try waking up early and see. So mostly you will observe in a winter season. So drops of water on the flowers. Next two lines. But my lazy little shadow, like an errant sleepy head, had stayed at home behind me and was fast asleep in bed. So the meaning of errant is complete. The meaning of sleepy head is a child who is tired and feels sleepy. A child who is tired and feels sleepy. So here explanation. Here the poet is saying that in the morning his shadow becomes lazy and the bad one who wants to sleep more. The poet is saying when in morning he was out, shadow remained at home and was sleeping in the bed. So here early in the morning because of tiredness the shadow becomes very lazy. So he doesn't want to get up. I hope you all understood the poem and you enjoyed the fun of this poem. And I think you might have understood in what perspective the poet has written and what was the intention of the poet.